In Capture One Pro 10, Phase 1 introduced something called three-step sharpening, and it's a great process for really making your images look as good as possible. And the thinking is that you sharpen at three different stages in the workflow. The first stage being at input, second stage creatively while you're doing your image editing, and third stage at output. And I'm just going to show you the three different stages here in Capture One Pro 11. So the first stage is input, and we are in the lens correction area. And under the lens tab at the very top, you see that we have an opportunity to do a little input sharpening here. Now, first of all, it's ideal if Capture One Pro recognizes your camera and lens combination. Let me click on this so you can see. So I have the 25mm f1.2 Pro, and it's using an Olympus EM1 Mark II. But I have all these other options here. And depending on what camera you shoot with, hopefully your stuff will be here as well. If not, you can always use generic, okay? But most of the time, my camera stuff shows up right here. And that really gets us off to a great start, because then the application can tailor the first stage of input sharpening specifically to the sensor and the file. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and click on diffraction correction. And that's a process that I only use as part of input sharpening for specific files. I don't leave it checked all the time because it does tap the processor. And so you may be working your computer a lot more than you want if you always check this box. But for this shot, I want it to be just right. And so I'm going to do a little input sharpening and check that box. And then I'm going to go ahead and up this probably to around 32. How does that sound? All right, so that's the first phase. Now the second phase happens as part of normal image editing, and that's our sharpening area right here. So I'll go ahead, since it's an object, I'll bump it up to something like that. I'm going to drop this down to 0.8. And that's our creative sharpening. So we do a little bit more sharpening at this phase for objects and landscapes, and a little less for things like portraits. It's the creative part of the process. And then finally, on export, that's the third step of three-step sharpening. So I'm going to come over to File, and we're going to go down here to Export Images. So I'm going to go with a variant. And in this case, let's go ahead and create a JPEG. And we're going to make it, we're going to sample it down. So on the long edge, we'll make it 2048. And we'll use sRGB because it's going to be on screen, online use, and we'll just call this online here. All right, sometimes I call it web right there. So here's where we apply the third step. We go to adjustments, and we have sharpening here, and we use output sharpening for screen because I'm going to use it online. If there's going to be a print, I would choose this. We'll go ahead, yeah, right around here is good. So we'll use that, 0.8. That looks terrific. I'm ready to go now. Now I have sharpened at all three phases, input, creatively, and on output. Let's go ahead and export this. Should go to the desktop. We'll minimize Capture One Pro 11. Now here's our image right here. I'm going to just double click on it so we can open it up. And there we go. So that is an overview of the three-step sharpening process. We'll talk a little bit more about sharpening in upcoming movies, but I just wanted you to see the whole thing at once, input, creative, and output. This is a really nice feature in this application, and for certain images, you can really make them shine by using this workflow.